Deep within the heart of a dark, suffocating jungle, Bruce Lee found himself facing an adversary unlike any he'd encountered before. This was no ordinary fight, nor was it just another martial arts showdown. It was the setting of his most intense and brutal battle, one where the stakes were as high as his determination, and the danger was as deadly as the thick foliage around him. The jungle was eerily quiet, save for the distant calls of unseen creatures and the rustle of leaves underfoot. Bruce had been following a lead on an underground crime syndicate operating out of a remote village. As he ventured deeper into the wilds, his instincts told him something wasn't right. The path grew treacherous, and the air thick with an unknown tension. He was no longer just an outsider, he had become part of the jungle itself. The trap had been set. Bruce Lee had encountered many fighters, each skilled in their own ways, but nothing could have prepared him for what lay ahead. He was met by a group of elite mercenaries, fighters as lethal as the jungle itself, each with a unique style and an unyielding desire to destroy him. The leader, a towering figure known only as the Beast, stood in the center of the group, exuding an aura of cruelty and strength that seemed to ripple through the jungle. The moment Bruce stepped into the clearing, the ambush began. The Beast was the first to charge. A giant of a man with bulging muscles and a terrifying roar, he attacked with brute force. Bruce, ever agile, sidestepped the massive blows with his trademark speed, but each punch from the Beast sent shockwaves through the ground, rattling the trees. Bruce knew this wasn't going to be a simple fight. He was in the jungle of death, where survival meant pushing his body and mind to the absolute limits. Bruce's movements were a blur as he dodged, ducked, and struck with unparalleled precision. The fight was a ballet of fluid movements mixed with bone-crushing strikes. His fists were like lightning, his feet like daggers, each strike landing with a force that seemed to rattle the very earth beneath them. As the fight wore on, the jungle itself seemed to close in around him. The mercenaries, inspired by their leader, attacked with a fury unlike anything Bruce had experienced. There were no rules here, no honor. Just raw, primal violence, but Bruce Lee was not one to be easily overwhelmed. His mind was as sharp as his body, and he knew that in this jungle, his greatest weapon was his focus. Every fight he had ever won was won through clarity of purpose, and this fight would be no different. With lightning speed, he turned the tide. One by one, his opponents fell. He used the environment to his advantage, swinging from vines, using trees to launch himself into devastating kicks and strikes. The sheer force of his punches and the speed of his movements made him nearly impossible to track. He was like a shadow, always one step ahead, but the Beast